Watch what's approaching, the supreme moment. Reality striking closer than it seems, don't it? Go ahead, it's for the taking if you want it. If not, the dream dies and you'll be forever haunted. Then confront it.
What's good? So I just woke up, of course, with the late night information releases. I am catching up on some of the information, but this is actually quite exciting in terms of like the EZA news. Now, of course, like we knew this was coming for the EZA intelligence race Trunks, and you know, if we take a look, and we'll start off by taking a look for this guy, but they did make the upgrades that he severely needed, and I'm specifically referring to the defensive liability that this unit tends to have pre-EZA. So if we run through the stats, of course the leader skill, I mean, it's super type key plus 3 HP attack and defense increase 100%, so I mean that is going to be a pretty decent leader skill, even though like the tech transforming Trunks nowadays has obviously a better leader skill, even with the secondary where its super types get 120%, but you know, this will be a pretty decent, I think, secondary leader for like Battlefield and stuff like that. It's not really the highlight, I guess, for this unit's EZA. I mean, the real meat of it is basically the upgrades with the passive skill and super attack. So let's talk about the passive skill for this guy. Pretty much similar to previous functions. Strength type gets converted over to the intelligence type key, and then for every key sphere obtained, attack and defense increase of 20%. So of course, like that in itself is a pretty good improvement, but because I believe previous format, he only increased his attack by 20%. So along with that, if there's a Realm of God category enemy, let's see, changes a random type key excluding intelligence and strength type key spheres into rainbow key, and basically if you obtain 7 or more key spheres, effectively attack against all types. So those are very, very good upgrades. I mean, you're looking at a 20% attack and defense increase for every key sphere obtained. On top of that, if you obtained 7 or more key spheres when facing Realm of God category enemies, you're going to be effectively attacking against all types. So that is definitely going to be a pretty significant upgrade. And again, the defensive liability this guy had, and I tested him recently, he definitely did have some liability issues toward defense. So it's really nice to be able to see that buff toward defense as well. Now, in terms of like the super attack, along with causing immense damage, looks like greatly lowers enemies' defense, and then for one turn, super type allies get attack increase of 30%. So, you know, I think in the potential system, I currently have this guy at like level 9 additional attack and level 12 crits. That's pretty much probably what I'm going to keep it at. Maybe the additional attacks will activate a little bit more frequently than not. That would definitely help, you know, the additional 30% toward attack for all allies, basically with every super attack. So I think overall it's a very solid EZA. I think it's going to be, you'll definitely see the difference between that when it actually happens over the current situation or current state. Now, these two guys are the ones, I gotta be honest with you, I'm more excited about it than the Trunks unit, just because of how much of an upgrade they needed. Now, the Golden Frieza agility version, this guy is a phenomenal tank still to this day, but I really don't use him much because of, honestly, because of, you know, the lack of offensive output. So they did make an adjustment here. I mean, the leader skill, it's pretty irrelevant, but it did go up from 33% to 35%. Maybe that additional 2% might help with, you know, the punch machine event and stuff like that. But outside of that, I don't really see too much of a big deal with it. For the passive skill, if you obtain 4 or more key spheres, key plus 2, an attack increase of 90%. And then if HP is 40% or above, reduces damage taken by 90%. So it was previously 50%, so that is now 40%, similar to, I think, how, well, it's actually a little bit better than, I think Tech Gold and Frieza had like a similar thing, if I'm not mistaken. It was 50% or whatever the case was, but Either way, this guy's going to be able to tank a lot as long as you have HP above 40%. It was 50%, now 10% could make a hell of a difference, so we'll see what the deal is with that. The biggest thing about this guy is the fact that the super attack ability changed, where you do have the Kaioken mechanic, or the ability to stack attacks. So even though the Tech Golden Frieza with the EZA is phenomenal and probably the best one out of the group, this guy is probably going to be a better option in terms of longer battles that are drug out and requires a defensive unit, but also the ability to continuously grow his attack stats. I mean, again, you do have the ability to stack attack with every super attack, so that is going to be quite a bit of a difference maker. Along with that, you get Ki +2 and 90% HP, or 90% increase toward attack, as long as you obtain 4 or more Ki. So this guy is actually going to be very, very good, and chances are I'll probably end up using this guy a lot because of that. Now, let's move on to the other dark horse, I guess, so to speak, and I'm pretty glad that I actually rainbowed this unit not too long ago. I don't know, maybe I had a sixth sense about potential EZA coming, but this guy's gonna actually be pretty good too with the EZA. Leader skill looks like Tech, Intelligence, Strength type, Ki +3, HP, Attack and Defense increase of 80%, so pretty decent leader skill upgrade. Again, most likely it'll be more or less a secondary lead for stuff like Battlefield. With the passive skill, it's quite a bit of a change. I think previously at its current state it was like 60% toward attack and defense. That has changed to attack and defense increase of 90% at the start of the turn, and then when you're for target Goku category allies, get Ki +2 and attack and defense increase of 30%. And then when you're facing a Goku enemy, high chance to activate critical. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. I think this guy's actually going to be pretty good as well. Again, I do appreciate the undervalued cards coming back into the limelight, and this is going to be pretty damn good, I think, in my opinion. Countering to the agility Golden Frieza, this guy has the ability to stack defense with the super attack, so again, this guy in a longer battle situation could actually be pretty good in terms of a defensive unit, because again, over the course of all the super attacks throughout the battle, you're increasing your defensive stats over time. So yeah, this guy could certainly be very, very good, both offensively and defensively. I think between the two, I mean, it's going to be hard to say which one's better. Probably on paper, Golden Frieza, the agility version, probably is. It's probably more of a practical unit, but I think both of them are good in their own way, and I could certainly find uses for that in different scenarios. This is probably the one that I am probably most excited about, because I did rely on this guy a lot back in the day, and because of Tech Golden Frieza's EZA, this guy pretty much became obsolete, and I'm kind of glad they went with the skill sets that they did. The ability to raise attack with every super attack, I think, is a pretty big deal. That is probably going to be very beneficial, especially for a unit like this. I'll probably have to rearrange the dupe system, because I created like a buffer with this unit's ability to tank. Basically, if HP goes below 50%, you lose that ability to reduce damage by 90% or whatever it was. So I put in some levels toward evasion to kind of offset that. So it's going to be interesting a little bit to find out how I want to go about it. I guess at the end of the day, I could maintain that, because in contrast to the Golden Frieza Tech version of Golden Frieza, even if HP fell below 50%, you were still able to tank to a certain degree. Now, this guy doesn't have that ability. Once HP goes below 40%, that's pretty much it. You know what I'm saying? So that could be an issue, I think, potentially. But either way, it's better than what it currently is. So, I think the biggest lacking issue with that unit in the past was some sort of offensive output. And they did, they shifted the skill sets to where if he gets a 90% increase toward attack flat out, and then also the ability to raise attack, so that's pretty damn awesome. So I think to wrap up, we'll just go ahead and talk about this guy's EZA. I mean, it's pretty good. I think in summary, I think it's pretty close to what I expected. So it'll be interesting to test things out and see how this plays out. The last thing I wanted to talk about is there was news in the game about the Prime Battle LR Krillin. Looks like it is a Earthling category lead, so it'll be a brand new category where it's pretty much like, you know, the Warriors of Earth, so literally Earthlings, right? What's interesting about that is you're going to be able to build some pretty decent teams, because at an SSR state, from what I saw, it was well, the leader skill key +2, HP attack and defense increase of 100%. So starting off already at 100%, I would imagine at the very least, the LR version would probably end up at, you know, 130%. That's my guess. I don't think they would only increase it by 10% per each rarity state. So with that being said, I think a lot of good things could happen with that, because there are some units that necessarily don't have categories on, you know, decent teams that are part of like Earthlings, you know, and you would actually be able to run some decent teams. You know, I got a few in mind that I'm thinking of. I'm not going to specify, but I would definitely like to test those out whenever it does actually become available. So I guess we'll go ahead and wrap things up and close out here. But hopefully, hopefully there's a lot to look forward to. I'm actually pretty excited about all the EZAs. So we'll see what happens, and it will drop pretty soon. I think initially it was scheduled for like, I don't know, maybe like, I think it was April 10th or something like that. I'll have to double check, but a lot of good stuff coming. I think the 3 EZAs are very, very solid, all 3, and a lot of good material to work with. So hopefully you guys found this video helpful and enjoyed it. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys later.